Are you up for a scary movie night? Because today we're going to rank our favorite top 10 teen horror movies. Number 10, Veronica. Veronica is a 15-year-old girl who is growing up in a household where she has to spend most of her time supporting her mother by looking after her 3 younger siblings due to her mother being forced to work around the clock because Veronica's dad passed away. When a solar eclipse is about to happen, Veronica and 2 of her friends skip school to go and play with an Ouija board. Veronica is hoping they will be able to contact her deceased father, but when the eclipse starts, something goes severely wrong with the Ouija session, and Veronica becomes haunted by demonic, shadowy figures that she believes is coming after her and her family. We spend nearly the entire film with the main character Veronica, played by newcomer Sandra Escacina. She does an excellent job. Veronica starts out telling us that this is a film based on true events, and it is another Spanish horror film that is well worth seeing. Number 9, Look Away. Main character Maria. She is from a rich family, but there's something different about Maria. She doesn't come out of her shell at all. She's just very introverted, doesn't even try to make friends. So anyway, the main plot of this movie, though, is Maria looks in this mirror and she sees herself, but then all of a sudden, the reflection begins talking to her, calling herself Iram. So Aram is a confident person. This movie focuses on Maria for a good portion, and then eventually the two swap, and this movie takes advantage of that premise and goes in a direction that you wouldn't expect it to go into. This movie does get pretty damn chaotic and crazy. Number 8, Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare is about a group of friends who go to Mexico and they are asked to come play a game of Truth or Dare. But unfortunately, this game has a little twist because once you play, you can't stop playing. You must always either answer truthfully or do the dare, or else you die. The basic concept of this movie is pretty decent. When somebody is asked to either tell the truth or do a dare, then it puts them on the spot and it forces them to make a decision. At some points, it's kind of fun. They do use the concept nicely to further the story, because with every truth there's a hidden secret. And learning more about the characters, we do have a set of characters that you'll be interested in. The film received mostly negative reviews from critics, but it was a box office success, grossing $95 million worldwide against its $3.5 million production budget. Number 7, Friend Request. This movie is about a girl, a very lonely girl who has literally no friends. She's very much so an outsider. Nobody really knows anything about her. She befriends the main character of the film and gets her very first friend online. And now that she has her first online friend, Laura, she begins to follow Laura everywhere until she becomes obsessed with her. And eventually, Laura gets uncomfortable, causing some serious emotional distress. And this girl decides that she will basically haunt Laura and her friends through the internet and make them all try to kill themselves in horrific ways. Number 6, Scream 5. New lead in this franchise is Melissa Barrera. She plays Sam Carpenter, who returns to Woodsboro just as a new series of ghost-faced murders break out that may or may not tie into a dark secret from her past. There's also a new generation of self-aware teens, including Wednesday Jenna Ortega, 13 Reasons Why Dylan Minnette, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's Mikey Madison, Booksmart's Mason Gooding, and also returning our original cast members David Arquette, Courtney Cox, and Neve Campbell. There's a modern sensibility to the writing. Even as the story interweaves familiar themes, the kills are fantastic. The returning players are great to see, and the new cast is a lot of fun. Overall, Scream is an enjoyable experience that retains many of the qualities that made the first so wonderful. Number 5, Freaky. Freaky is a mashup of the Freaky Friday body swap concept with the slasher genre. In the film, Vince Vaughn plays a hulking serial killer who swaps bodies with a bullied high school teenage girl. That is basically it. Throw in a ticking clock element where they have to switch back within 24 hours or they'll stay that way forever. Freaky earns its R rating, delivering an ample body count. The tension is there, the darkness and the humor are on display. Freaky is a good time. It's smart, sharp, and funny, with some tasty kills. And director Christopher Landon revels in it, nailing the balance of humor and gore perfectly. Number 4, The Babysitter. The Babysitter tells the story of Cole, normal 12-year-old kid. He gets bullied at school, and even though he's a little bit too old for a babysitter, he does still have a babysitter, but lucky for him, it's the hottest and the coolest babysitter that has ever existed. So one night after he supposedly has gone to bed, he walks downstairs to try and see what the babysitter does once he's asleep, thinking that maybe her boyfriend comes over. They do some funny business. Well, some fun's going on, and he finds himself on the run for his life after witnessing some crazy stuff. I don't want to say too much about the movie. Let's just say it's a pretty high body count. A lot of people die, and there's a lot of gore violence. Number 3, The Loved Ones. The Loved Ones is about Brent, and he has a girlfriend, and they're going through the prom together. But then Lola's invitation to go to prom with her. Unfortunately, Lola is not satisfied with the outcome of the invitation, and so Brent is kidnapped by Lola's father. And for most of the rest of this movie, Brent is held hostage and completely tortured. Acting was phenomenal. Lola and her father were completely crazy. They sold their characters perfectly and all, so cinematography really played them up a little bit as well. The torture scenes were well executed, and we got to see some unique takes on it with hammers, drills, and knives. Number 2, Carrie. Carrie is an American supernatural horror film. It is the 3rd film adaptation, the story of a teenage girl with telekinetic powers, raised by a dangerously fanatical religious mother. 2013, Carrie has notable talent attached with Chloe Grace Moritz. The new Carrie has too much of a going through the motions feel to it, as we move through the very familiar story towards an inevitable conclusion. Even though the core source material is Stephen King's book, Pierce's film feels very much like a remake of Brian De Palma's hugely successful 1976 Carrie movie. The story has been updated for 2013, and camera phone video footage is now used as part of poor Carrie's humiliation. I think the new version of Carrie will probably deliver best to those who have never seen the earlier film. Number 1, Jennifer's Body. Jennifer's Body was directed by Karen Kusama, and it's a story of 2 high school best friends who've known each other their whole lives. Needy, played by Seyfried, and Jennifer, played by Fox. On one night, the 2 go to a bar to see an indie rock band called Low Shoulder, and the 2 get separated when Jennifer shows up later that night. She's covered in blood, eating chicken off the floor and barfing up black liquid, and soon enough she gets an appetite for human flesh. The film was gorgeously directed. The cinematography is actually really good. This movie has a lot more to offer than most films of its type. Watch the movie as a dark comedy with horror elements. Well, this is it. What's your favorite teen horror movie? Let us know in the comments.